there, everybody. Welcome to Android Central Live. So this is new and exciting and different for us. We are live in San Francisco at the Westin St. Francis at the Samsung Developers Conference. It is Samsung's first Developers Conference, so figured we'd try something a little different this time. We've got Andrew Martinick with us.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We all know Andrew from the podcast as well. I'm Phil Nickinson, editor of AndroidCentral.com. So we do our podcast every week, and we figured, well, let's set up shop here in San Francisco and stream live from the event. So that's what we are doing. And we're going to do 3 hours off and on today and another 3 hours tomorrow. We'll probably have a little more to talk about today, I think.
Yep.
Just because we had the keynote this morning. And the way it's going to work is we're going to talk amongst ourselves for a little while. Mm-hmm. And later this afternoon, we're going to bring in some very special guests. In fact, I don't even know who they are yet.
So special, so exclusive, we have no idea who they are, but we'll keep funneling through them, and they're going to be Samsung people, industry people, Crackberry Kevin, whoever feels like talking.
Basically, we have no idea who's coming, so it's kind of all our coworkers trolling us, and this could get real exciting real quick. So we'll find out. So you want to start with, we had the keynote this morning, and as far as keynotes go, I mean, it was decent. It ran a little long, got started a little late. These things happen. But let's talk about the big strokes. Some of the stuff we saw before, some of it was brand new. What was probably your favorite part out of the whole thing?
I think out of the whole thing, I mean, Samsung's really pushing the multi-screen, both for gaming and entertainment. They have all of their crazy OLED TVs, the smart TVs. Everything's connected.
The 55-inch curved OLED they had here today was beautiful.
And it just floats in that big easel where it's just only $9,000.
Only $9,000.
Not bad at all.
I'll take two.
So the big thing is without any additional accessories or anything, you're going to be able to throw content around between your tablet, your TV, so you can get extra information on the TV, or they showed displaying tweets, displaying game scores on top of live TV. That's the stuff that gets me most excited.
Throwing content to a TV is not new. We've done that for a while. Samsung's done that for a long time with AllShare. But what's new is it's not just mirroring your display. You're actually taking information from the phone or your tablet, throwing it up almost in like a sidebar on the TV.
Yeah.
I'm back and forth on that. Like, it looked really cool. It looked easy. It was quick. It was displayed nicely on the TV. When I'm sitting there on my couch with an adult beverage in hand, I want to watch what it is I want to watch. I don't necessarily want all this junk on the TV. Now, maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know.
Well, I think that the most interesting thing for me was they showed the sports example, the soccer game going on. You can pull up the live scores of the other games, and you tap a live score in the game, and it'll switch the channel to that game, and then you'll pull up stats. You can ask questions of different people. You can invite people to video conference with you and watch the game with you.
And actually, the example they had was they were watching something else and said, oh, I want to check the score on my phone. Oh, now I want to go watch that game. And it all just kind of circled back together. I mean, because otherwise, you're not going to be watching a game where they're showing more scores, then pulling in even more scores. I mean, so some of this is going to have to get worked out, I think.
Yeah, some of the interface stuff is going to have to work out because they're showing a lot of overlays, and news programs or whatever are already showing a ticker at the bottom and different graphics and things like that. So where they position that on the screen is going to be important. Like, it's going to be information overload really quickly.
The other really interesting thing, I think, was Twitter. Twitter has easily solidified itself as the way to get information live at this point. And they've done an incredible job of that. Interesting seeing Samsung bring them on stage because it's kind of this symbiotic relationship.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, that's the last thing I want to watch. When I'm watching The Walking Dead, you've already got so much extraneous stuff on TV. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out and how much people are actually using it. And we're not going to have that answer today. We're not going to have that answer next month.
Absolutely not. And, people... you get the dedicated fans when there's a season finale or something going on where everybody is watching Twitter, they're seeing what their friends have to say. So for those dedicated people, do you really want Twitter overlaying on your season finale, experience, or do you want to be staring down at your phone and not catching the screen? It's kind of hard to strike the balance, but I think if they do it right, the core set of people that really love that two-screen experience with Twitter are going to eat it up.
And it's important because the tech is there, right? They're getting it all worked out. Name of the game today was SDK by far. They released 5 new SDKs, or announced them anyway. And it's let's just dive through them here. TV obviously the biggest. I think that's
Yep. They made the play about the fact that they're in an interesting position. Samsung has a huge market share in mobile and TVs. They said they're selling one TV every 2 seconds on average or something like that.
1 million mobile devices a day.
Right, and when you throw those two numbers together, you're talking about, a huge install base of smart TVs that, no additional hardware required, just hook it up to the internet and you're connecting your devices.
So the 5 SDKs we're talking about, the multi-screen SDK, that's what we've been talking about right here. The Samsung Mobile SDK, 10 individual packages, S Pen, we've talked a lot, and that SDK has been out for a while. We were kind of a part of that with the contest last year when they did that media control, professional audio, gestures, all in one SDK.
Right.
800 APIs in that, I believe they said. Multi-screen gaming SDK. Now that's one we actually saw in Berlin in early September. I was there, and they've got a really nice controller, and you just slap your phone on top of it. Not unlike a Moga controller, if you've used that. But that works very nicely.
Right, and then you can broadcast that to other devices as well.
Yeah, think of it almost like an NVIDIA Shield, only separate. So a lot of really cool things being done in that space. The TV SDK, and then the Knox SDK. Knox is one of those things that's still, unless you live in the enterprise space, and you and I don't, it's a little hard to wrap your mind around, and those who love to buy phones to hack them kind of load this stuff.
Right, exactly. But for those who are in the enterprise situation and they don't like carrying two separate devices with different operating systems or something, Samsung is really trying to say, one device, we can silo the enterprise apps, we can silo all your data, and they came at it from the business's side of view too. Keep all of your emails safe, keep your data safe. The employee's phone gets stolen, you don't lose your data too.
Right. And I mean, that's not going to become less important anytime soon.
Right.
It's not sexy, I get that.
Right.
For those who like to hack their phones, I get that it's a pain in the butt. It's something you have to work around or break, or it keeps you from doing what you want to. But from a consumer/enterprise space, it's super important.
Right, absolutely.
Probably the other thing that I was most enthusiastic about, I'll say, is the ability that, look, they basically have Samsung's version of Chromecast.
Yeah. Looks very similar.
It's already built into the TV. Now they're building it into the SDK, so applications can add this Samsung functionality, and it's not per device, right? You don't have to have a Note 3. It's going to work on an iPhone. It's going to work on other Android phones. They used Pandora as the example today.
And again, they're talking SDK. They're saying anybody can make apps for this. You just plug into the APIs, and it's already in all the smart TVs. And the Pandora example was perfect, and it's not unlike Chromecast at all. The button looks similar, the dialogue looks similar, it pops up.
You were going nuts. You were saying this looks just like Chromecast.
I said the button literally looks the exact same, and I go, it really looks like it. It says living room TV, and you hit the button, and you're getting a view on the TV of now playing, but then on your phone, you're getting control of, pause play, next track, thumbs up, thumbs down, all that kind of stuff. And it's a two-way street. I believe they said that you could use the remote also on the TV, so it's talking back and forth. It's not just a dumb display.
And I love the idea because it's already built into the TV. There's no dongle you have to add to it, and no plugging in via USB. I know that was a big pain for people.
It really kicks up the magic factor of, your TV. They're already pushing you to have your TV connected to your home network. It's, because it's a smart TV. So they're saying, get your device, load this app, and wow, you can just throw it to the TV.
And that's the catch. You've got to have a Samsung Smart TV. I just bought a relatively new Samsung TV. Well, it's not relatively new. It's new for me, but it's not smart.
Right.
It doesn't connect to the internet at all. Although it has a software update feature, which is just weird. I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
But so I'm not going to be able to use that.
Yeah.
But Chromecast still works just fine. Samsung has alternatives.
Right.
Really interesting because to me, I still think that's the way to do it. Instead of streaming things, we've talked about this I don't know how many times.
Exactly.
Instead of using your phone or your tablet to do the heavy lifting, it's the appliance is doing it for you.
And everybody's doing something different. HTC has their own media link thing. We're seeing Chromecast, but nothing's really caught on too much. We've seen Miracast streamers and things like that. Nothing's really caught on. So Samsung, like we said, with the install base of TVs, they're kind of in a position to jump out ahead if they really take it head on like they say they will.
And I think we need to reiterate how important it is to not just only be on one phone, two phones, one tablet, or even just Samsung phones, but but that it's built into the TV and the application, and it's not hardware specific. To me, that's huge.
Right. These apps still, we want to be able to, get the Pandora app from Google Play and not be a special version that's preloaded on some devices.
Right.
That can really hurt it in the early stages.
What do you think about this one stat we got? They say Samsung says it's selling 1 million mobile devices a day. Try to wrap your head around that for a minute. Oh wait, you go ahead.
1 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of zeros.
That is a whole lot of zeros.
What they didn't break down, and what we kind of got some insight into with the latest Samsung earnings, is those are a lot of mid and low range devices, and how is that experience? This wasn't 1 million Galaxy S4s.
Right.
It was a lot of Galaxy S4s and Note 3s and Note 2s, I'm sure.
S3 still.
Exactly. But, how many of those devices are in what price class? You have to expect it's a lot of mid-range stuff, too.
And actually, that's a lot of what their message is that we are number one in, pick a demographic, pick a segment of this market, we are probably number one.
Right.
And that's a big deal.
$99 unlocked devices all the way up to $700 unlocked.
I mean, you can say what you want about Samsung phones, whether it's your favorite, manufacturer or not, but you can't deny those numbers. That is a buttload of
No,
phones.
exactly. Any manufacturer would be happy to take that.
Any manufacturer would probably be happy with half of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of why we're here. It's Samsung's first developer conference, and maybe not as consumer focused as you might otherwise see us at.
But it's still important to see when a company as big as Samsung is saying indie developers, small groups, one person, two people, come make these apps. They're talking about they're in a keynote talking about the number of libraries in their SDK and how many APIs are available. Like, you don't see those. Those are normally in little small events that are are regular meetings with these developers. They're not huge events with thousands of people at them.
Well, let's do this, because I'm not a developer. I think we all know that. I can barely stand here and put two sentences together. Let's bring Michael Ludden over. Michael, we've known for a long time at the site. Why don't you come on this side? We'll scoot over here. And how are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
So you were up on stage with the...
Good to see you. Sorry.
That's how it's going to be, huh?
Whoa.
It's okay.
It's been a long day. No, so Michael, we've known for a long time, and then you hopped over to Samsung a couple years ago now?
Yeah, I used to do the HTC.
Yeah?
Yes, that's my dirty secret.
Nah. So, what the hell are you doing here, man?
Putting this show on.
Yeah.
Hoping it goes. Hoping it stays together.
Right.
Yeah, hacking it together, essentially.
So, I mean, let's walk it through. How long have you guys planned this? This is your first developers conference.
Well, that's one of the reasons I actually came to Samsung, was to help this conference actually happen and kind of try to unify Samsung for the world of developers with one message, which is not an easy thing to do.
Right.
So many different divisions. There's smart TV, there's mobile. Those are the two obvious ones. There's refrigerator, there's connected refrigerator. There's connected devices that sit underneath your TV, like HomeSync. There's all sorts of different shapes and sizes of PCs and tablets and this and that. And so what do we actually have on offer to developers? First, there's like a requirements gathering phase where we had to figure out, okay, what do we actually do and what are developers going to be interested in? And then we had to get everybody on board inside Samsung, which has a lot of different business units around the world. And, so it's been a long time planning, and I'm actually really, really relieved that it's happening.
Pretend for a second that Andrew here is a developer, because he looks a little more of the part than
Definitely.
me.
Yeah, but
Why?
but in reality,
I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean about
Yeah.
you, but
Say Andrew's on the fence about coming.
Okay.
I take it as a compliment.
Say Andrew's on the fence about coming to Samsung Developers Conference, because there are lots of DevCons out there, right?
Yeah.
We all go to Google I/O. There's some of the smaller, the Android DevCon that happens 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Why should Andrew come to this one?
So the reason to come to SDC is because Samsung is for the first time putting on offer pretty much everything we have to do with developers on one stage. Not only that, we've got like a ridiculous amount of giveaways over the course of the next couple of days. The show floor tomorrow is kind of ridiculous with the amount of things being given away. The ticket price is pretty low compared to tier 1 conferences like this, like you mentioned, other ones from other manufacturers and whatnot. And I mean, we announced the Note 8 giveaway today, so everybody here is getting a $400 piece of hardware for their $299 ticket. So I mean, just from a sheer value perspective, it's more than worth your money. And then of course, what you're going to learn with our over 50 sessions. And it's not just Samsung, right? We're bringing out some of the best teachers across Android, the web, cross-platform. There's lots of partners involved. It's really kind of exciting. It's definitely worth the price of admission from a number of different angles. So that's what I'd say.
So you heard Andrew and I talking about what we thought about the keynote this morning and what we saw.
Actually, I didn't hear that. I just
Pretend
wanted
you
to tell
did
me.
for a
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
What would you say? And we're less Devi and more consumer focused.
Yeah.
For the folks who don't know code
Right.
and don't worry about SDKs,
Yeah.
what should they look out from coming out of SDC.
Yeah.
What should they expect to see in the next year or two, building out of all this?
Well, I think we hinted at it, right? A lot of multi-screen stuff, a lot of stuff between your Android phone and your smart television. You saw there's actually a team called the multi-screen team that specifically works on getting stuff from any mobile, from iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, whatever it is, just the web to your TV as content overlay to help you interact with like a smart TV platform. You're going to see a lot more convergence, a lot more of our integrated ecosystem happening over the course of the next several years. Obviously, I'm wearing one of our emerging devices, and that connects with my Galaxy S3 phone. And so you'll see a lot more of these SDKs that take advantage of trying to figure out how these devices actually communicate with each other and make it a little bit more seamless.
Right.
And the keynote was designed to kind of speak to that, talk about some of the early stage investment we do as Samsung, talk a little bit about enterprise, and of course trying to pack all that in. We went egregiously over.
Yeah, you were the last one on stage, and you tried to kind of shorten it up. Everybody was ready to get out of there.
Yeah, I was ready to let them get out. It was so fun to make people pretend like there was something under their seat. Everybody literally went down.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. It was funny.
I think we got a little bit of hint, and as you said, not just Samsung, not just Android, but a little bit of hint. It felt to me like Samsung's starting to break out a little bit, and not just this stuff is only going to work with our devices. And I'm excited about that because that's been a big complaint of mine. It's like Samsung can make great stuff. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to go all Samsung all the time.
Right, right. And some of the things just by nature of what we can actually control has to do with our own products. So of course things are going to be vertically integrated. But Samsung really, this is at least what I wanted for this conference, is to have a more open feel, maybe than some of the other conferences out there, right? So we wanted to include partners, we wanted to include frenemies, we wanted to include people that are, because it's really hard to avoid competition in this space when you're doing so much different stuff. So to the extent that we could, that's the way you're developer friendly, right? You cast a wide net and you invite as many people in to play, and Samsung's really kind of always been about a little bit more about choice than not choice, right?
So you've been pretty instrumental in setting this whole thing up.
Yeah, this is my baby.
How many people, because they probably won't get the credit they deserve, how many other people behind the scenes?
Yeah, there's dozens of people. There were 20 plus people working on it locally. There were 30 plus people working on it from HQ. We've got the buy-in from some of our key executives. All the agencies that worked on this, there were maybe 6 different agencies between the PR agencies.
Wow.
And it's just an insane event to try to move a corporation to do something like this. And so so many people are not going to get credit. The people on my team that really helped with this. So
would you like to have them check under their seats now?
Yeah, please check under your seats at home. I
snuck into your house while you were sleeping.
Yeah. There's like 6 cameras here. I'm not sure which one to look at any given time.
No, just pick one and we'll switch to it.
Pick one, they're looking at you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How many people did we decide were here? 1,500? 1,300?
Yeah, there were around 1,400 people total. I think Gregory Lee quoted about 1,300 at the beginning. That was conservative. They're definitely over that.
Not bad for a first year, would you say?
It is not bad. Actually, we still, for some reason we still have registration open. Actually, I have to go talk to them about that after this. But big second day with a ton of stuff at the different booths and a lot more giveaways. So there's more to come. Yeah, more announcements as well.
So tomorrow's going to be more sessions. There's actually like a show floor with booths.
Show floor, 28 different booths. 18 of those are some of our sponsors, some of the who's who of the tech industry, and most of them are giving away things. So it's definitely worth it.
We have Android Central Live.
Android Central Live.
Also happening tomorrow.
Also happening. Yeah. 3 hours again tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be blind by these lights.
And of course, you guys. You guys live streamed our keynote. There's so many. Thank you so much for
You're
that,
welcome.
by the way.
You're welcome.
Great.
It's the least we could do. No, I think that turned out well. Well, thank you very much for stopping by.
My pleasure.
And we'll do it again.
Okay, can I reach across the
Yes.
aisle?
Yeah, there you go. Don't fend me off.
What else? Or as we say on the podcast.
So that was the keynote.
Yeah.
that was that.
I mean, that was, I think, pretty succinct of what we're seeing here. I'm not going to take that much home that I can actually do anything as a consumer. I can do a lot of it. DevCons are like that, though.
Exactly. Right? They prefaced a lot of the different speakers at the opening keynote, said, okay, this is going to get geeky, and we're going to talk about APIs and SDKs. But anybody who kind of looks a little farther down the road can say, okay, I could see how this could be interesting and how this could turn into a presentation where, you know, we have the heads of different departments coming up and doing a product demo that really shows off a brand new application that somebody that's at SDC right now, you know, developed, and it'll be coming out in a few months.
I think it's worth mentioning no new hardware was announced today or anything. No Galaxy S5. no Note 6 or whatever we're up to.
And that's refreshing because this is about the platform and about, you know, like,
and not about some new toy.
Right, exactly. Expanding that net to, you know, include all kinds of people to get interested in just developing things that happen to integrate with Samsung products.
I know we're all waiting for a Nexus announcement. Are you a little surprised Google didn't troll Samsung a little bit and announce it right in the middle of this thing? I thought about it.
Hard to say if they were actively thinking about that or if it was at all possible in the first place, but that certainly would have thrown a wrench in our plans.
What else? I mean, we're starting to see, I'm looking through everything we've gone through today. I mean, we're starting to see individual app announcements that, you know, different developers are saying, hey, we've announced this at DevCon, so we've got posts up on that.
They showed off the big ones like Pandora's coming. The new version of Twitter on the Note is preloaded. We talked about that before, but
our old friend Michael Ducker, who's been a friend of the sites long before Mobile Nations existed.
Right.
As Mobile Nations way back in the Visor Central days. Marcus Adelson is here helping us with all this, and he ran the show. He and Dieter Bohn back then. So Michael's been around for a long time. And he's with Twitter now, and really nice explanation of how Twitter fits into all this with the SDKs.
Right.
It was fun for me to see some of the action memo stuff. Every time that gets demoed, it gets a little better where, you know, you take a note and you write down an address and it translates it.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that demo. That was a real estate demo with Zillow and Trulia, I believe. And, you know, open up or just take out the pen on the note, you know, write down an address. It opens it in.
Hit one button, it says, oh, I recognize your handwriting. I'm going to open it up in Google Maps or whatever other app has tied into it with the SDK.
And then you can hover over addresses to get more information. A couple taps, you send it off, write a note.
This is all stuff you can get now. This is stuff you can get on the Note 3 and on the GS4, or not on the GS4, but on the Note 3 and the
Note 10.1.
Note 10.1, the new the Note 10.1 2014 edition.
There you go, with a hyphen.
How do you do parentheses? Air parentheses? 2014 edition.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a horrible name, guys.
But that's a great example of the kind of stuff that can be happening.
Right, and so that's what they're showing developers here. Here's how you can do all this cool stuff with our stuff.
They showed a cool air hockey demo with two tablets together that you just set them next to each other and slide your fingers together and it automatically pairs them and connects for a multiplayer game. That was really interesting.
Not unlike what Google had showed with the Nexus 7s.
Right, with
playing. So we're starting to see more of that. Yeah. I think that might be it for kind of our little
kind of wraps
podcast.
Up the keynote, really.
You know, the sessions were packed today. We actually got shut out. And there were so many people.
We went up there and there was already turning away people, you know, filling up rooms with hundreds of people already. So they're clearly excited.
Yeah. So we might take a break for a couple minutes here and then we'll come back and we'll start pulling people in, I imagine, I suppose.
Yep. We'll bring a couple more people in, run through it. We got hours and hours more to go.
We do. It's weird doing a podcast without the music. Because if I dance, it's going to look funny. So, all right. That's it. We'll be back in a little bit. Thanks, guys.
All right.